Every country has that one dish that really captures its soul. And for Thailand, that has to be green curry. It's rich, it's aromatic, and it's got the perfect blend of spice, sweetness, and creamy coconut. Hi everyone, I'm Manj, and welcome back to Cook to Perfection. Today, we're taking a trip to Thailand, and I'm gonna show you how to make a Thai green curry from scratch. It's much easier than you think, and the flavors are absolutely amazing. So let's not hang around, let's cook. Okay, so the first stage in making Thai curry is to make the paste. Now, for the Thai green curry, we're going to make a green curry paste, and we're going to need a few ingredients for that, mainly green. So let's just quickly run through them. We're going to need some Thai basil. Now, it's fairly readily available in supermarkets. I got mine from a local supermarket here, but if you can't get a hold of it, then normal traditional basil will do as well. That's a perfectly acceptable substitute. We're going to need some green chilies. This is kind of obviously where the heat comes from. Now, how many chilies you use depends entirely on how hot you like your curries. Now, I like mine fairly spicy, so I've got about 7 or 8 little green chilies here, little bird's eye ones. If you're obviously a bit more of a wuss and don't like it spicy, then you can just use 1 or 2, or leave them out altogether. We're going to need some lemongrass, some fresh lemongrass. We're going to need some garlic. I've got about 4 cloves of garlic here. We're going to need the zest and juice of 1 lime. We're going to need a couple of little shallots, red shallots. Now, if you can't get a hold of shallots, then you can use a small red onion. That's fine as well. We're going to need some coriander. We're going to use the stalk and the leaves of the coriander. And then we're also going to need either some fish sauce or some shrimp paste. Now, either one of these works perfectly fine. It's what gives a salty element to the dish. Now, if you can get a hold of fish sauce, great. If you can't, shrimp paste, is readily available in the supermarkets as well. But yeah, either one is fine. We're going to need some galangal, which is a ginger-like substance. Basically, it's very, very similar to ginger. There's a slightly more citrusy flavor. Can be quite difficult to get a hold of. I actually had quite a bit of trouble getting a hold of fresh galangal here. I've got the jarred stuff, which is already minced, which is fine. But if you can't get galangal at all, then you can use ginger as a substitute. Just get a cube of ginger, and you can then just kind of grate that, and that's absolutely fine. We're going to need a little bit of oil, just some neutral oil here. That's just to kind of help lubricate things along. And then in terms of spices, we're going to need some ground coriander and some ground cumin. Right, so once you've got all your ingredients in the blender, all we're going to do is pop the lid on and blend it until it's a nice fine paste. Okay, so what you might find is what's happening here now is because there's quite a lot of hard ingredients in here, it's not blending to a fine paste, it's getting a bit stuck. So if it is doing that, what you can do is just get a little bit of water and add that to your paste, and that should help your blender then process it a bit better. So put that in there, put that on. There we go. So after roughly about 5 minutes of processing, your paste should be done, and it should look a little something like this. Okay, so our Thai curry paste has now been made. It's all ready to go. Before we make our curry, I'm going to give you a very, very good time-saving tip. Now, this stuff freezes really, really well. So what you can do is make a large batch of it. So kind of double everything up, and then whatever you use for your curry, you can use, and the rest of it you can put in the freezer. So next time you fancy a Thai curry, you don't have to make the paste from scratch. You can just pull it out of the freezer, defrost it, and then you're good to go. Okay, so before we make our curry now, we're just going to do a quick little bit of final prep. We're just going to prep our garnishes. So I've got here a couple of kaffir lime leaves and a small red chili. So we're going to just slice these up, and these will kind of form part of our garnish. So do that and slice this chili nice and thinly. Now, these fat red chilies don't tend to be very spicy, so you can use a reasonable amount. And obviously, if you're really, really sensitive to chili, you can take the seeds out, but I'm going to leave these in. And then with the kaffir lime leaves, I'm just going to, this one side, I'm just going to cut these in half, and then I'm just going to shred them with the knife. And these will go in the final bit of the curry. go. Okay, so when we're making our curry, one of the first things we're going to put in is our aubergine. Now, in terms of vegetables, I'm using aubergines and broccoli, but actually you can use whatever you want. You can put in green beans in there, you can put snow peas or mange tout, or kind of peas, anything kind of like, you know, the world's your oysters. But I like this kind of aubergine's quite traditional, but you can put whatever you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this aubergine, and then we're just going to give it, say, a couple of slices here like that. That should do it. And then we're just going to cut these into smaller pieces. Okay, and then we're going to very lightly fry them off in our little wok here. Okay, so we're going to start by just adding a little drop of oil to our little wok here. So I've had this on the heat for about 5 minutes on medium heat. It's kind of warming through. Just give it a couple of seconds for that oil to warm up. And then we're going to just drop our aubergine in here. I'm going to fry this off for just a couple of minutes before we put anything else in. Okay, we don't want this on too high a heat. We don't want to burn anything. So medium heat is perfectly fine. We cook this. Okay, so now that our aubergine's been cooking for a few minutes, about 5 minutes, you can see it's starting to kind of soften and brown. Initially it had soaked up all of the oil in the pan, but as you can see it's cooking now, starting to release the oil back into the pan. So that's kind of our cue to add the rest of our ingredients once that oil starts coming back out of the aubergine. So we're going to start with adding a little bit of our chicken. So I've got a whole breast chicken here. I'll probably add about half of that. We're going to make one portion, so I'll add about half of the breast of chicken there. At the same time, we're also going to add in our Thai curry paste. I'll probably add about 2 heaped tablespoons curry paste. There we go. Now we're going to cook this out for about 5 minutes. It smells amazing. That fragrant smell of all the Thai basil, the coriander, and galang-galang. It's absolutely, it smells so good. Okay, so our chicken and our paste and aubergines have been cooking together for about another 4 or 5 minutes. So now what we're going to do is add in the coconut milk. Now I've got a whole tin of coconut milk here, but that's going to be too much for one portion. So I'm going to add in about half of that. So I've got a ladle here, so I'll ladle that in. There we go. So we've got a tiny bit more. So about half a tin per person should be about right. And then what we're also going to do, while our cooks, I'm going to add in a bit more fish sauce. So this kind of helps with the salt aspect of things. We will taste at the end, and if it needs a bit more salt, we can add a little bit of salt in there, but I'm going to use the fish sauce mainly for that salt element. Okay, and I'm going to bring this back up to the boil, and then we're going to simmer this for about 10 minutes before we add in kind of our final few ingredients. Okay, so our coconut milk has now been simmering away for about 5 minutes. And what we're now going to do is add in our vegetables. So these will take about 4 or 5 minutes to cook till they're still a slight al dente. So now's the time to put them in. Put them in there, there we go. Let's give them a good little mix around. And then in another about 4 minutes or so, we'll add in our prawns and final bits and pieces and finish the dish off, by which time the chicken and the broccoli and everything should be cooked through perfectly. Okay, so our dish is almost done. The broccoli's been cooking for about 4 minutes, and now the last thing we need to add in is our prawns. So I'm going to add in a few of these. Now the prawns I'm adding in are already cooked, so we don't need to cook them through. We just need to very gently warm them through. If you're using raw prawns, then you'll need to add them in a little bit earlier so you can give them time to cook. The prawns don't take very long, to be fair. They'll take about 5 minutes tops. So these will probably take about 2 minutes just to warm through. Let's give it a good mix. Once the dish is ready, we're just going to serve it up with some steamed jasmine rice and garnish the whole thing with some sliced red chilies and kaffir lime leaves. Okay, I guess the proof of the pudding's in the tasting, so let's have a go. I'm going to take some of this lime. I'm just going to give it a bit of a squeeze. There we go. Side, a spoon here. So let's try it with a bit of prawn. I'm serving it with some steamed jasmine rice. So Mwah. Oh, that's so nice. And really fresh. Excuse me. Yeah, really fresh, really fragrant. And taste all those kind of herbs and the spices and everything in there. It's got a little bit of a kick to it. Not too spicy, just a little bit of a kick. Absolutely perfect. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed watching that recipe as much as I enjoyed cooking it and as much as I'm going to enjoy eating it. If there are any dishes that you'd like me to cook, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for more dishes that cook to perfection.